President Trump's use of the National Guard is coming under fresh scrutiny tonight, with New Orleans set to become the latest battleground city. 350 troops are set to arrive in the Big Easy in the next week to confront crime. Now, this comes as the Supreme Court has delivered a major setback to the president's broader strategy, ruling he overstepped his authority in trying to federalize the Guard in Chicago. Joining us now, NewsNation Washington, D.C. correspondent Joe Khalil. He is live at the White House for us. Joe, great to see you. Good evening. Merry Christmas Eve, my friend. What's the latest here?
Merry Christmas. Yeah, right now, as it stands, the Supreme Court has made a decision. This actually may not be the final one, but for now, ruling against the Trump administration, delivering this White House a loss on one of their key issues, which is obviously the way that they have been using the National Guard and deploying them to cities around the country. The decision relates to Chicago specifically, but that doesn't mean that it's limited to Chicago. So obviously jurisdictions all around the country where this administration has deployed the National Guard are subject to this ruling from the Supreme Court as well. Having said that, it doesn't appear as though the White House is fazed at all by this decision, because we know there was a planned deployment on its way to New Orleans for the National Guard ahead of the New Year holiday. And right now, both the Pentagon and the White House say they're going to continue moving forward with it. In fact, Hannah, this is the statement that we got from the White House, in part describing their strategy here, saying that President Trump activated the National Guard to protect federal law enforcement officers, to ensure rioters don't destroy federal buildings and property. Nothing in the ruling on Tuesday detracts from that core agenda. We also have the governor of Louisiana, who is a Republican, by the way, Jeff Landry. Unlike several Democratic governors and mayors, Landry is welcoming the National Guard into his state, into his most populous city. This is what he said after the Supreme Court ruled against the administration.
They will be there for New Year's Eve, and they're going to be there for a deployment through February, which we desperately need. Look, we know how to make cities safe, and the National Guard complements cities that are having high crime problems.
Hannah, in the cities so far that President Trump has deployed National Guard troops, we haven't seen any pullback yet. Some have thinned out. Some now have fewer numbers of troops. But places like Chicago, like Los Angeles, like Washington, D.C., and others, there are still National Guard troops and a presence in all of them.
Thank you for that update, Joe. I also want to ask you about Venezuela. The Trump administration continues to ramp up pressure on Nicolas Maduro. What are you hearing where you are in the nation's capital?
Yeah, a couple of advancements today. One, as President Trump took phone calls with several troops around the globe, actually, on Christmas Eve, he did make one reference, and he talked about how drug trafficking in the seas has been decreased significantly, and he says the land is next, which is something that he has said before, referencing potential strikes on Venezuelan land. But there's a White House official that we've talked to who has now confirmed for us that the strategy for this White House is going to shift. And that is big news, shifting from more of a focus from military presence to instead economic pressure. And what that means is the continued pressure on Venezuela's oil industry. Obviously, the administration has ordered at least 2 oil tankers to be seized. That could seriously disrupt Venezuela's economy. And this official confirms that it is the belief of the White House that if by the end of January, the White House continues, the administration continues to pressure Venezuela and Nicolas Maduro economically, that status quo is not going to work anymore. It could force the Maduro regime to the negotiating table with the administration and potentially win some concessions from them on a whole range of topics. So a very significant shift when it comes to the Venezuela policy from this White House.
All right, Joe Khalil, live at the White House on this Christmas Eve. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.